Hello everybody, this is about paradise again, and I've created some videos, perhaps you've seen, having to do with how you start with ancient land practice and mythology and finding the sacred areas, etc. And eventually it ends up, well, where does the road go and where does the water come in and where do the utilities fit and all that. But when you're in your final finishing layer, most of the things are grown and whatnot. I'd like to introduce you to three fairly simple ideas, but they're very unconventional. And it has to do with creating the total feeling of multiple layers of multiple membranes around you when you're moving through the land or sitting on the land. And it looks to me like how you build these psychic energy containers. And when I say container, I'm not talking about a can, but a place where people gather. Story lanes, where people drive and they walk, and hopefully these include beautiful smelling plants as well as things to look at. And then thematic scenes where you're introducing a subject matter, and that mostly relates to the house. And I'll show you how to design the interior of a house and the areas around the house so that you get this real essential potency, this deep feeling, this nurturing quality, this soft envelope, this beautiful sound of nature, all those layers of membranes. And that's what really produces the feeling of paradise. It's past construction, it's past development. So looking at my land here, I have a living area up here with four little buildings, and then we have kind of a utility area, and then we have an amphitheater and sort of a park, botanical park. So once everything was constructed, I had a real interest in creating this environment or container in a really precise way to make people feel in full contact with nature and feeling it all, listening to it all. And the same thing down here in the amphitheater, where we were actually adding dimensions of music and dimensions like big fires and torches and flags and color, etc. Water, big flowers, beautiful places to sit. And all those elements combine to make a container here and a container here. If you look at the 3 acres from the top, imagining that you're driving in on this red line, and that's the drive-in, and there's the housing area here, down here, I have one, in this case about 6 containers or incubators that I'm looking at. So starting here with the amphitheater, you heard my explanation of that. That's a many-layered thing. That's 14 layers of music, sound, light, color, heat, fire, etc. Here is a kiva, which goes 8 feet in the ground, and that's another place where 12 people sit and meditate. And in this case, we're trying to isolate the number of dimensions of stimulation down to just feeling the earth. So there's a whole different purpose. This is sort of multi-dimensional, and this is unidimensional. It's a container. Then I have a container here with a steam room, a container here with a small classroom that's different, a container here inside of trees, where we have a tent for people who come at the last minute. But under the trees is a different type of a container that has a lot to do with protection and comfort and still the ability to hear the sound. Now, in addition to the containers, the story lane starts here at the beginning of the property and introduces flags and artifacts and sculptures until you reach the turn here, and then we have another passage through into the village with stone walls, a statue, etc. And this is a storybook lane. This lane moving into the house has got 7 aromatic plants on it. So when I come home, I see this gorgeous estate-like look, even though it's not much space. And just before I walk into the house, I have this great barrage of beautiful, beautiful smells. So yeah, there you have containers, story lanes, and now let me talk about thematic scenes, because in my hexagon, I have decorated certain areas just like a movie set. So this is a sort of a techno-tribal set here. This little prayer garden out here is very Balinese. This shower garden here is very Hawaiian. This porch here is very cowboy, etc. You don't need to have a uniform design, interior design. In fact, it's much more fun to do these all like stage sets. Then even the outside of this side of the house has one Italian Renaissance look. This side of the house has an Aboriginal look with stones. This side of the house has a Oriental and Gawa style look. So not only do you not have uniformity inside in your decorating, you don't even have uniformity in the building construction on the outside, because what we're trying to do here is create beauty and energy everywhere you move around the house and everywhere you go in the house. So this is a paradise mind orientation that you can bring to your land way after you've got all the other basic stuff in place. It's where the felt sense of being close to nature and being close to heaven is actually engineered in the design. Paradise mind. Go planet.